Have you ever felt completely certain that you were right, only to realize later that you were missing the bigger picture? We live in a time of extreme certainty. Social media and our own cognitive biases encourage us to pick a side, build a wall, and defend our truth at all costs. We believe that control means having the final answer. But the most dangerous place to be is inside a truth that is too small for the reality of life. True wisdom and true peace begins when we realize that our eyes are only seeing one thread of a much larger tapestry. In a legendary city in ancient India, there lived 6 blind scholars. They were men of great learning who spent their days debating philosophy and law. They were respected for their intellect, but they had a common flaw. Each believed that his own perspective was the only one that mattered. One day, a visiting king brought a magnificent elephant to the city gates. The scholars had heard of elephants, but had never encountered one. Curious, they asked the king if they might see the beast with their hands. The king smiled and agreed. The first scholar leaned against the elephant's sturdy side. "Ah," he exclaimed, "an elephant is like a massive, rough wall. It is solid and unyielding." The second scholar reached out and felt the sharp, smooth tusk. No, he argued. "You are wrong. An elephant is like a spear, cold, pointed, and dangerous." The third scholar happened to grab the trunk. It moved and twisted in his hands. "You are both mistaken," he shouted. "The elephant is clearly like a giant snake, flexible and powerful." The fourth scholar reached out and wrapped his arms around one of the elephant's legs. "What nonsense," he laughed. "An elephant is like a thick, tall tree trunk. It is fixed firmly into the earth." The fifth scholar touched the large, flapping ear. "It is obvious to me," he said with confidence, "that an elephant is like a great fan, creating a breeze with its movement." The sixth scholar grabbed the swinging tail. "You are all fools," he cried. "An elephant is nothing more than a frayed old rope." The scholars began to argue. Their voices grew loud and angry. They called each other liars and fools. Each was ready to fight to protect his version of the truth. Each was trapped in his own dogma, unable to imagine that someone else's experience could be as real as his own. The king, watching the chaos, began to laugh. He silenced the scholars with a clap of his hands. "My friends," the king said gently, "you are all right, and you are all wrong. Each of you touched only one part of the animal. You took a fragment of the truth and tried to make it the whole. If you would stop shouting and start listening, you would realize that the elephant is all of these things, and much more than the sum of its parts. Your conflict isn't caused by the elephant, it is caused by the limitation of your own hand." This ancient story is a profound healing for our modern hearts. We often suffer because we mistake our narrow slice of life for the entire world. We judge our partners, our neighbors, and even our own failures based on a tiny piece of evidence. This creates a state of constant tension. We think we are in control when we are certain, but certainty is often just a cage that keeps us from the richness of reality. The healing in this message comes from the relief of humility. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to be the sole possessor of the truth. When you accept that your view is limited, the need to defend yourself disappears. You can stop fighting and start exploring. You can begin to ask, what does the other person see that I am missing? In the philosophy of Stoicism, we learn that our internal peace is determined by how we interpret the world. If we interpret it through a rigid lens, we will always be at war with reality. But if we maintain a flexible mind, we can find the control to remain calm even when things are complex. True power is found in the ability to hold multiple truths at once. It is the wisdom to know that the wall, the spear, and the rope all belong to the same elephant. This realization dissolves anger and builds empathy. It turns an argument into a conversation. As you go through your week, notice when you are feeling absolutely certain about someone else's motives or a complex situation. I invite you to pause and ask, which part of the elephant am I touching right now? Look for the ear if you are holding the tail. Look for the trunk if you are leaning against the wall. When you embrace the humility of the incomplete truth, you will find that the world becomes much larger and much more beautiful. You will realize that the truth isn't something to be won. It is something to be shared. And in that sharing, you will find the peace that certainty could never give you.